Boogermaynz, and
Scorah. Scorah's a very good player. We know this from his performance in our past tournaments. I have not had the opportunity to see Boogermaynz play, but we'll see how he does.
Yeah, so spawning up here on the top left-hand side of our starting map for this round, we do have ESFZ Scorah.
The orange Protoss. He's always orange. And in the bottom right here, the pink Zerg. Boogermaynz. You too, man. You too, man.
I like the name. I do. I enjoy that name.
I do too. It's very entertaining.
It is a great name. So, yeah, just a little bit of background that we do have on Scorah. Scorah has been a constant participant in the Hivemind tournaments as well as the CSL. Placing really well in most of the tournaments that we have, I think.
Agreed. He has consistently performed quite well. I'd say he's definitely one of our better Protoss players here that play in the Hivemind tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. We did see him falter a little bit in one game that I can recall offhand, and he did fall backwards a little bit the last time we saw him in the summer tournament, losing to Jay Lely.
However, Jay Lely is also a very good player, and their rivalry is pretty well known within our small community here.
Maybe that's what we'll do for one of our show matches. We'll see if we can get Jay Lely and Scorah to have a best-of-5 show match.
And I haven't communicated with Jay Lely in quite a while, so I don't know if he's even still playing the game, honestly. But that'd be great.
That would be great.
Love to see these guys playing again. A little shenanigans going down there with the probe.
Now, interesting to note, it was a 14 pool, 14 gas here. Now, that's, I think, fairly standard under the current meta. Again, if anybody in the chat knows for certain, like, feel free to correct us, because I'm a little shaky on it at best some days.
Looks like Scorah here is going to go ahead and block that expansion.
Oh, I was hoping he would have done the heart. I was hoping we would get a heart out of Scorah.
You heard that, Scorah? Yeah.
That's right. Take note for next time. And
he loses that probe.
He does lose his probe, but he does manage to delay that hatchery. First gateway is already done for Scorah, and the cyber core is also done. Now, one thing I know for sure, and we do see it, we do see a second gas geyser taken roughly at 17.
Is that indicative of a 4-gate or like a 3-gate robo? That second gas there, or maybe like an Oracle rush?
Anymore, it usually leads to, I mean, it holds the same values it did in Wings of Liberty, that it means you're going for a really high-tech situation really fast. But
I think also something worth commenting on is the very nice placement of his buildings here to keep like Zerglings and stuff out from his mineral line.
Yeah, and actually, what I was trying to say is that, I mean, like with the Oracle, you see it a lot more. You see the early gases a lot more for things like Oracles and the Mothership Core.
Boogermaynz never got that natural.
I just noticed that, and actually we do see the Mothership Core for Scorah coming out. So at least at this point, Scorah is fairly safe. So it is a 1-gate expand out of Scorah.
And out of Boogermaynz, we do have a Roach Warren just about done here before the 5-minute mark. So I don't know. What are we going to see come out of the Boogermaynz here?
Yeah, I am not entirely sure.
Oh, 4 roaches in production right now. This is a roach rush. This is an all-out roach rush.
A 7 roach rush?
Mm-hmm.
So actually with this early gas geyser, Scorah has a couple of different ways that he can go. He can go your generic robo play, or the more common thing, at least in Heart of the Swarm, is to go for the Stargate and go with like Oracles or something like that. Mm-hmm. Go into some sort of a Sky Toss build, or just pull out the skill array card.
He does go ahead and grab that natural, like you mentioned, and throwing out a couple more gateways here. So I guess you are right. Yeah. A double gas isn't always indicative of something like a rush, sort of all in.
Yeah. Now, I know in like Wings of Liberty, we talked a lot about how double gas usually meant you were going for some sort of an early expand, because you could get a bunch of sentries out really, really early, and it made you feel fairly safe. And we do see the robo facility going down for Scorah and the natural.
Will it be in time, though? Because the 8 roach rush is on its way. It is a little bit delayed, if you ask me. Oh, it's got the Mothership Core intercepting that push.
The Mothership Core is going to be able to catch up with some of these roaches and do a little bit of damage to them on the way there. And I think with that bought time, Scorah is getting his warp gates out now. I think he's going to be just fine with this, actually.
I think you're probably right, and he's got good building placement there to give him an advantage when they finally do fight. It looks like he has sentries coming out, so he might be going for force fields, though that would put his natural in jeopardy. The Robo is just about done, and if he pumps out an Immortal, he could easily defend this push here.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to force fields and how hard he pumps that Immortal.
Oh, it looks like...
Notice the Immortal, or the Kernel Boost goes off first, and then the Immortal, and then we get the force field trap. Nice.
Ooh, great split there. Gonna be able to eat through those initial few roaches while that Mothership Core just slowly and surely picks away at these roaches.
This is some really good play by Scorah. And Boogermaynz.
Boogermaynz is in full retreat right now. Or not. Never mind.
And the first Immortal is out for Scorah.
Too late to the party.
He is. Now we do see the drone transfer coming out for Boogermaynz up here. And just continue to build roaches. If we open up the production tab, you see Lail Reconstitution. I think that's Roach. Yeah, it's Roach movement speed, double evolution chamber. So more than likely out of him, what I would think we would see at this point, he's got a couple of different routes he can change, but if he's going to push heavily with roaches, I would say it's probably going to be Roach, Hydra, Viper. Would be
that is a pretty common endgame transition for Zerg in Heart of the Swarm here. However,
and that's just based on like how hard he's pushing for like Roach movement speed and stuff, and he's getting missile attacks instead of melee, which at least draws me to the conclusion that he's not going to go for ultras.
Yeah. Depending, I guess, maybe he's not thinking that far ahead in the game.
That's true. At this point, staying alive is pretty important.
So we do see a small, but probably a pretty significant push here coming out for Scorah, especially with that Immortal there. If you can get some good Guardian Shields and good splits, you can have some awesome engagements.
We do have forward pylons going down as well, so actually I think this is pretty formidable coming out of Scorah. I think he's going to wait for those pylons to finish, and then...
I think this is a massive improvement over his 6-gate Robo that he did against Laser Drill so many days ago.
It's also interesting to note he does have a Twilight Council out. I do not know if he has Blink yet. No, he does not. But that is also another possibility.
And Reinforcement Warp in, and looks like he's going to go and begin this the destruction of these roaches here. It's not going to take very long.
Time Warp does go down. The Probe joining into the battle, and easy pickup for those roaches. The Queen joining in. Now we do have 8 roaches about to pop out here. But with the force fields that we've seen from Scorah, as well as just general unit composition, I don't know that it's going to be enough.
And that Immortal alone is just going to make this so one-sided.
And look at that positioning. Actually, really good positioning by Scorah. Keeping that Immortal kind of out towards the center, where it can't really just be picked off on the edge.
I think this is going to be GG here pretty soon. This is a pretty decisive victory for Scorah.
Yeah, that is definitely a flexing muscle. More Stalkers joining in the fight. I'm sure there's another Immortal waddling its way across the battlefield. No, there's not. And we get a well GG coming out of Hivemind.
Indeed we do.
So
that let's put Scorah up at a 1-0 lead over Boogermaynz. Alright. So there's game 1.
So there's game 1.
So
what's the keys to improvement for Boogermaynz in game number 2?
The keys to improvement, I don't know, man. That Roach Rush was pretty... It didn't work out for him. It was a little bit delayed, and he also let his roaches get caught. So that pretty much, I think, lost the game for him almost immediately. I'm gonna go ahead and quit this replay so we can get up to the second one. But I mean, when you're gonna rush like that, it's just so imperative that you take your opponent off guard. Because if they're prepared, you know, you're so far behind if you lose that push.
Exactly, and I think that's what got him, because he didn't really do the damage he needed to do in the early step there to make it a big difference.
Exactly.
And we're going to go ahead and load into the second game in this series, played on Derelict Watcher TE.
All right.
So 2-player map, very easy, natural. And spawning up here on the top right-hand side of this map, we do have Boogermaynz.
And
I'm sorry, I can't say that name without at least grinning.
Mang. Scorah, the green Protoss here in the bottom left. On a derelict watcher.
So this actually is, it's the same tile set as Star Station, I believe. And this has been actually modified a couple of times.
Yeah, I was going to say, the last time I saw this map, it looked very different.
Yeah, it's been modified a couple of times through various uses. I believe it's still in use in the GSL.
Is Star Station still used on the ladder?
I don't think so. I think actually they came out with a new one because Star Station was a 4-player, and I think they made it into a 2-player with a cross spawn in the other direction.
Right.
So we do see the scouting probe coming out for Scorah. Now, what are we going to see here?
I don't know. Scorah's pretty good at
easy.
Yeah, he's got so many tricks up his sleeve. You can't really predict what he's gonna do. You know, somebody like me, you know what I'm gonna do depending on what race I'm playing against. It's but when you've got a player like Scorah, who's just got so many tricks that work, and it's not like he's winging it. But
no, I feel like it's pretty well planned out all the time. With the exception of the one build that we did see where I think it was 6-gate Robo and then take an expand. That was a little funky and may have been on the fly.
Well, that was an all-in, but he lost the push, and then I think he decided to follow up with some expansions on that. But it was a little bit too late on that game. But anyway,
yeah.
At home, gas and gateway, just typical.
Yeah, pretty good stuff, and we do see the same. I'm going to assume it's the same formation of buildings coming out of Scorah, so pretty good going there. We definitely like that.
That is a pretty late spawning pool, would you say?
Yeah, I would say at that point he either needed to take that expand right away, or
in comparison to last game, it's a later spawning pool, so I think he might be going ahead to get that expansion there. At least I hope so.
It just dawned on me, and it may or may not be true, but last game, once we saw that expansion get blocked, I think that's where we saw Boogermaynz basically just say, you know what, forget this, and then attempt to do something crazy before expanding, hoping that maybe he could somehow even the score just by...
I think you're right there. And looks like he's not going to bother with that pylon and try to... Oh, never mind. He was going after that probe there, but it looks like he's going to take out that pylon, possibly get a natural down there. Meanwhile, we do see the second gas coming out for Scorah once again. Warp gate being researched.
And now it's interesting to think, I can remember back to the first Hivemind tournament. We saw...
what do we see, Ken?
I can't think of his name.
Death Waffles.
No, it wasn't Death Waffles. We saw Greg.
Malevolence,
there we go. He would take his third if his natural got blocked. And I remember commenting in a cast how I thought that was a little strange and that it was going to be really hard to protect. But it turns out I was wrong with that. I will admit
that's actually the common standard thing to do now if your expansion gets blocked.
Yeah, but, I mean, granted, like when we saw it, it looked really weird, and it was one of those things that like
he invented that.
Yeah, he did. He was an innovator.
He's an innovator. Malevolence is an innovator. A couple of Zerglings here are going to pick away at that Stalker, but not going to kill it, unfortunately. And even more Lings coming across the map. Meanwhile, he gets his natural expansion. Scorah does the same. So,
and we do see a Roach Warren coming out again for Boogermaynz.
Well, I think this is a decent timing for that Roach Warren. He's obviously not going to be rushing with it or anything like that. This is likely going to be a bit of a longer game.
And honestly, what I would have liked to have seen is a third go down for Boogermaynz, because I mean, look at his money right now. He's got so much money. It's crazy.
Let's take a look at his player camera and see what he's actually focusing on. Looks like he is trying to micro these Zerglings against the probes here, not really paying attention to his money.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he was looking at. He was trying to do some damage, some economic damage on Scorah, which he's still trying to do, but it looks like those Lings are going to get hit.
Mothership Core is going to clean that up pretty easily, but is he going to get that pylon? Oh, no. 8 health left.
The hero pylon.
Sadly, though, it wouldn't have done much. Warp Gate was already researched. And looks like we do see an Immortal coming out for Scorah, which is going to... Well, do we have any roaches on the field?
None yet.
None yet.
And I don't know how to feel about it. At the same time, I think he could have gone for that expand and been successful with it, because of the massive influx of money he had. Now, he is supply blocked again, but I mean, assuming ideal conditions there, had he not been supply blocked and whatnot, I think he could have safely taken that third and pumped out some roaches alongside everything.
I do agree, though he didn't seem to use all that money for metabolic boost and 7 roaches right now, and lair tech. So we'll see what that gives him. Though that third base will definitely be delayed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, even if he even decides to go for it, is going to be the bigger question. I mean, like, he's focusing on drone production and everything. He's focusing on all the right things. It's just I think he's getting a little too caught up in the fact that there's roaches on the field. I think he's trying to play it more so as Wings of Liberty Zerg, or PvZ, as opposed to Heart of the Swarm PvZ.
It's like Scorah is just about getting that Robo Bay done, so he's going to transition into a Colossus Death Ball sort of play there. We'll see if he decides to push before he gets that third base.
Basically, I would call it this way. If Scorah can get his third base down, this game is probably over.
I would agree with that, because in general, the Zerg player should stay one base ahead of the Protoss or Terran player. Looks like he's going to go out and maybe push for this.
And actually, Scorah saw that coming.
He did.
Scorah knows that there's something on the way, which is why he's blocking off his main.
Yep, and he is warping in a few more stalkers there, and he does have plenty of force fields there with those sentries, so if this push arrives anytime soon, he should be alright. That Robo Bay is finished, and it looks like he is, warping in a Colossus right now.
I like this play out of Scorah. This is actually a pretty standard time to start seeing Colossi come out. And we do see the Mothership Corps going to go out and scout this, probably throw down a Time Warp right in the middle.
That would make sense, and it looks like, that Zealot does fall a little bit before those force fields go down, so those wings are able to get in. But he did save that Immortal.
He did. He actually, at least for the time, saved the Immortal.
Overall, though, he does win the engagement.
Yeah, that was pretty effective. And again, out of Boogermaynz, I would like to have seen an expansion, or even 2.
I agree with that. He did have nearly 1,000 minerals there for a minute. He's down to 600, 700 now, but he has 26 Zerglings in production there. And Zerg missile attacks 1 just about finished, so he's definitely going to be continuing Roach or maybe Hydralisk production if he gets a Hydra den here, which he does have, actually. I didn't see that. And he is producing Hydralisks.
And now we do see Scorah coming out with the expansion. And as you said, we do have 4 Hydralisks on the field now.
However, Colossus is just such a hard counter to Hydra that I don't think this is a good decision for Boogermaynz at all.
Well, now it is if the force fields go off, and I don't think at this point force fields are something that we're truly concerned about with Scorah anyway. But now we do see some Stalkers going to go poke around here. It is important to note that these don't have blink, so they can get cornered fairly easily.
Even if he loses those Stalkers, I don't think that is too big of a deal for him. It looks like, okay, Boogermaynz is getting that third base there. And he's supply blocked after losing that Overlord to these Stalkers.
Now it is interesting that we're seeing Ling Hydra come out of Boogermaynz. Now that does mean that he can dedicate all of his gas, call it 1,000 by the time this gets across, to Hydras. Which, I mean, if you're going to do that, you might want to just either take more bases or put down macro hatches. You've got so much money, you need to use it somehow. And if that means building hatcheries for queens and larvae, then that's what it means. But I don't think this army at the moment is going to be a good match for this.
Not at all. He definitely needs that extra production there. Looks like, he's going to go right up into the ramp and gets blocked. That was some good timing there.
That was pretty good timing. And we do see, actually, the Artosis pylon go down.
And all of these probes are going to die. These Hydralisks are also in a very bad position, though.
His army is cornered in the base of Scorah. I don't think that really matters. Now, he is going to try and pick off that one...
He doesn't even care about this army. He's just trying to do whatever he can with this natural expansion there. And with those 2 Colossus there, those Zerglings were basically vaporized. 6 Roaches coming out for Boogermaynz, realizing that his opponent is using Colossi. And well, Scorah's pushing, and I think that's a good decision considering what he just did.
Yeah, I mean, like, he completely wiped Boogermaynz off the map, and at that point, you know what? Just YOLO and push.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing going to stop you. I mean, what does he have back at home? He has a few Hydras. At this point, that's the least of Scorah's worries. And at this point, like right now, closing down from third.
As soon as that third is down, I think this game is over. And the supply tells the story.
Exactly.
Actually, never mind. I read that backwards there. So,
what did you? Oh, you.
I thought Scorah was 100 over 88. But yeah, at that point, if Protoss is that far ahead of you in supply is third, you're screwed. However, Scorah isn't confident to push in just yet.
And it may not even be confidence. It may be more so, I just want to make sure. Like, I want to be doubly sure that I have everything that I need just to kill you outright. And that includes waiting for that proxy pylon and everything. We do see engagement here in the middle.
Hydra's doing a lot of DPS, but they're just gonna disappear.
Actually, those hallucinated Colossi doing a fair...
Oh man, losing all those stalkers.
Yeah, that's...
But those Colossi are just gonna... he doesn't know they're fake.
Yeah, he has no detection whatsoever, and he's just gonna continue to pick away and allow Scorah to rebuild this army right at his doorstep.
I think that could have gone over a little bit better for Boogermaynz if he had some sort of detection there and knew what he was hitting.
Exactly, and I mean, it should have been a big indicator that Scorah wasn't echoing those Colossi back. Like, that they were hallucinated, or at least something that didn't need to be paid attention to.
And with that third base secured for Scorah and the second base for Boogermaynz going down, I'd say this game is effectively over at this point.
I would too. I mean, like, it has been said all you need is a probe and a chair, but at this point I don't think a probe and a chair is going to win you a game in a 1v1 with Protoss knocking at your door.
Man. Long distance mining there, going to lose all those drones.
Some pretty one-sided battles tonight, actually, so far. We have 5 more Colossi warping in. Oh my god, that would be...
And those spine crawlers were just a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a big fan in this game of static defense.
There's a GG from Boogermaynz.
There it is. Once again, Boogermaynz dropping the series 0-2. Never fret. You have another chance at this specific opponent in the second half of the season. So with that, Scorah takes the series 2-0.
And I do think that's something that's really, really awesome about this the current tournament that we're doing. Just the round robin and the fact that people don't get eliminated after 1 or 2 series. So actually, get a chance to play some more games and have some more fun.
Definitely. And that's what it's all about.